Absolutely. Thanks for catching that, everybody. All right. So I'm assuming then that most of what I said wasn't heard. So I will briefly recap last session once more. Or actually, hi everybody. Thanks for helping us check in with the audio. I'm DM Feanor. This is session 19 of Landfall, and we're the Mythlanders. This is Pon Pon. We've got DL. We've got Jay Finky, and of course Big Bry. Myself, DM Feanor, and yeah. Last session, a fight broke out as the company, the former specialist company, now decided to retake the pillar based on visions that they had given to them through a small ritual from one of the Lear, an elder and a wise one named Brightleaf. After speaking on the matter, the party had decided to take the hill, but also it wasn't entirely a gamble. There was Commander Brom on the hill, who Zim managed to contact by means of a small, feathered and scaled squirrel-like serpent that carried the messages, speaking in his voice, like at first perhaps bewildering Brom, and being a special curiosity for the company as they waited in the mist of the jungle valley. Once moving onto the hillside, after a statement of intent by Kennett to share the pillar and to conduct this ritual, there was soldiers moved to block you all from moving up. Others moved to stop them, and the fracturing that you'd already seen from soldiers in the Alliance broke into a violent fault. Fortunately, Brom, even though he was not looking for bloodshed, he is going to lead his troops. Also, a magi named Nigel, studying the pillar, has came out on you all's side. There are other scouts in the area up on top of the hill you expect that haven't chimed in yet. Some have moved in, but as it stands, time is frozen still for our characters in mid-combat, as raindrops frozen in the air, lightning scatters across the heavens. And we're going to go ahead and keep initiative from last time, just to keep the flow of last session. Now, briefly, before we step back into it, if there's any questions anyone has, or details that you all felt like were important that I missed, you all can go ahead and chime in as I adjust some of my notes really quick. Copious pages.
Bry had the speech of a lifetime. Simultaneously good logic, part guilt trip. Good stuff, man.
It's always part of it. That comes from growing up Catholic. You get the Catholic guilt.
Oh, yeah. Weaned on it.
Oh, man. Felt.
What is this Catholic you speak of?
Having a sip from my water barrel.
Water barrel.
It's massive. I don't know if you all can see it, but if you're watching the stream, you can see that massive cooler. I gotta have a supply of water in my studio.
Don't worry, Saida, if you can't go through with the sacrifice, I got an arrow for you.
What does that mean?
Wait, was my mic on when I said that? Oh, sorry.
We all heard you.
What's the DC for hand shot?
Oh.
All right. And let's see here, double checking my double checking the log. Okay. At the end of last session, the last thing that happened is the zealots actually had made their attack. So, yeah. I believe. Let's see here. Yeah, because I think that Zim, those rules are from today, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
That was another character concept. Lands far away.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, the last attack I'm seeing are, a crit and a 16 attack on the javelin from the zealots. So that means next in the order is Crenshaw.
All right. Well, and then for my own mind, the zealots are the ones with the little black marks above their heads.
They'll have little. If you zoom in, it's a skull and crossbones.
All right, cool.
It's
I thought that was
on
them.
top right. Mm-hmm.
All right. Excellent. Well, I would say that I think I'm going to. Crenshaw's going to move down a little bit, and just along the what is that? What was that spell? Was that Entangle?
I believe it is. Mm-hmm.
And he is going to, as he passes, he's going to attack this poor fellow here. Bone sword.
Will you ping that one more time?
Yeah. Oh, well, it's not going to matter. It was a 9 to hit. Oh wait, no, that was damage. The person right here. Are you able to see that?
One more time. Okay, that time I saw it. For some reason, Roll20 is being a little bit slow.
Okay.
Looks like the map's a little funny. Does that look strange to anybody else on the stream? We're getting black diagonal bars.
Yeah, there's some black barring on the stream.
Yep.
Don't know why.
I don't either.
You could try refreshing from Feanor F. That usually fixes it when that happened to me.
Try that. Hopefully. I will, of course, have to readjust. All right.
Excellent.
All right, perfect. That's better.
All right. So apparently I rolled damage. That was silly.
Yeah, let's
I
see
need
an
to
attack
roll an
roll
attack.
instead. Oh,
okay.
let's
I'll
go.
take that.
Nat 20, first roll of the night. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice done.
So this guy is gonna take 14 damage
All right,
from the bone sword.
and that's the one right here that's currently entangled, correct?
Yes.
Awesome.
And just to clarify, I rolled an 18, and this weapon is a crit on 18, 19, or 20.
It is indeed.
Excellent weapon. I think this is the first time Crenshaw has rolled a crit with this sword.
Nice.
As your opponent's, it's just sort of stabbed out at you with its spear, and you manage to catch it on the wrist, almost severing the hand. But as soon as the blade is clear of the wound, the blood vanishes from the blade as if soaked up by the bone sword.
Oh, that's really cool.
And you can feel free to describe or pass as you dispatch.
So, taking off the hand, I think that he's gonna kind of swoop back with the sword and chop off his head.
Awesome. All right. Zealots get no pity. What do you do
And
next?
Crenshaw is gonna make his move up to stand here, using some more of his movement to stand with Saida and protect her at the pillar. Get in the way. He wants to get in the way of any arrows or anything like that. That's kind of his plan.
Okay, so you're just sort of standing there.
On guard, yeah.
Okay.
And that's my turn.
Nice round. Next in the order is Soranasa Kennett, or former Soranasa Kennett.
Former?
Hmm.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
Making me a rebel doesn't strip me of rank, does it?
Well, it depends on who you're talking to, I suppose, right? To some, you're a hero, I imagine.
So these two guys are still enemies here. Are there any other ones further away? I don't see any further away that still have skulls over
This
their
one
head.
is.
This one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's this owl movement? 60 feet, is it?
Let's see here. Oh, this one also, I had forgot to mark it. This one also rolls up and attacks, so I should mark that with a skull and bones. On the last
Okay.
round, this one had moved up to attack.
All right. Well, good enough then. We'll send the owl past that guy over this way. He'll do a flyby and give Kennett advantage.
Nice. And yeah, 60 feet is their speed.
And then Kennett will shoot an arrow at that guy.
All right.
Phew, 22.
That's a hit.
Okay. He's not wounded at all yet?
No.
Okay. Oh, actually, yeah, I'm remembering now. I got to change up things a little bit. It's actually this guy over here that we have to shoot because he's the one that's got hunter's mark on him. He's the one that I hunter's marked last time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, still got
it would make
still got the icon up. I see
a
it.
lot more sense to shoot him. 13 damage.
You can feel free to describe or pass as you dispatch another Soren. Yet another soldier.
All right, so he looks up to see an owl overhead harassing him. And as he looks up, I put an arrow right in his throat.
All right.
And then with my bonus action, I will move the hunter's mark to this guy. And then I will use my movement to see if I can, like, circle around here a little bit. Get behind some cover.
All right, you move your hunter's mark to which one?
Our left guy.
All right.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well done.
Brahm seems to, well, he sort of hunches his shoulders. I seem like his focus drops from the world around him for a moment. He seems to look down for a brief moment, his whole body tensing. He shakes his head rather quickly and says, "We'll have company soon. 5, 10 minutes. Yeah. He gives a quick shout also in the battle speech. Harsh, clipped words, mostly consonants that you can easily distinguish from each other. And it seems as if he's trying to give orders to any other scouts or soldiers on the hill to come aid him specifically. He raises his own crossbow, but seems unwilling to fire on any of his allies. He seems to be looking as if to move or dart forward, but yeah, the old soldier seems indecisive. His eyes quickly dart around. The Magi looks up to Saida. Says, well, let's see here. Well, it looks like you have a plan of some sort. What are you up to? And you can answer out of turn, for sure.
Not much different than what I did last time. I've returned to this pillar. I'm going to offer my healing magic and myself, and allow whatever needs to be done to happen. Or what will pass, anyway.
I'm not exactly sure what it entails, but I may be able to help. I'd like to keep an eye out on our allies, too. I don't want... Well, the situation could turn far worse, and I might be my attention might be needed elsewhere. But I'll do what I can until then.
It's a very real possibility that I may die in this process. Not sure what I can say or why I've said this. I don't know how you can help, but just so you know, it's a possibility.
All right. Well, my knowledge is at your disposal. And he spends his action helping Saida in whatever she attempts to do.
Well, given what she understands, I believe we talked about this last session also. She uses her last remaining spell slot to channel her healing magic into the pillar once more, in sort of a willingness to lend herself over to that power entirely if that's what's needed. So to enter a meditative, maybe like state as she makes contact with the pillar, and tries to focus on that. But I've already expended the spell slot. I believe that was something we initiated last.
Okay. You can go ahead and make another religion check as you continue to focus, try to follow that light of inspiration, and to bring it to new realization as the power that you expended through that spell is sort of flowing through your hands. It's in you. You've cast the spell. The energy's not spent. It's like you're trying to find the right place to flow it into. Okay. You no epiphany just yet, but you continue to search yourself and the sort of almost circuitry of this pillar. The reservoir of energy beneath, the web of energy that sort of threads off of it across the hill, the points of resonance on the other part, on the side, the eastern side and the southern side of the hill, all sort of light up in your mind. So you continue to explore it. So next in the order is Zim.
All right, levitating 30 feet above everybody. Gonna go ahead and would it be a action or a bonus action to tie a rope around myself and drop it down to Eris?
Well, if you're trying to what's your goal exactly?
Just to have him, because levitation you can only go up and down. So have him just kind of float me along like a balloon.
I'd allow that with a bonus action. You're a kelp farmer
Excellent. So I'll
and sailor, so yeah, you can tie a quick one-handed knot.
do a quick rope, toss it down to Eris, and Eris, catch!
Oh.
Get us to the pillar
Oh.
when you can.
He sort of reaches up, grabs you with he's got his shield strapped on his arm, but the hand on the handle, reaches up and grabs it and sort of clasps it in that and winds it around the hand. Sure.
And I take a magic stone out of my pouch and hurl it at the one still in the vines. Come on, magic stone. It goes nowhere. It gets lost in the vines.
That is and a straight one. That's going to be a mishap chance, which is going to be a 1d6. So go ahead and roll that for me, Joe.
Get out of here, turn order. In the way. Another one. I hit and break the pillar. That'd be ironic.
You managed to hit one of your allies. Re-roll that attack roll.
A 7.
Brom,
I don't think I do.
Brom manages to pull his shield up in time. Watch it,
Sorry,
Magi!
Brom. It's a new experience being up 30 feet.
Yeah, he sort of... Yeah, he's rather jumpy. He still, hasn't really taken any action. He's sort of... got a grim look on his face. His face hardens a bit as as your missile misses him. Both its target and it's an unintentional target.
It's a good thing it just wasn't the fireball. All right, that is all my go.
All right. All right, the nearby, the sympathizers, those who are sort of following Brom's order and Kinnett's suggestions or request statement. Those with respect, perhaps, and those without. But your allies fire on those who are trapped in the grasses. One arrow manages to hit this figure. Down in this corner, all of the 3 other sympathizers all attack the one remaining zealot right there. Let's see how their luck holds out. One with the crossbow fires. All right, that is not very lucky. Another d6 mishap for one of your allies. With a 2. You hear a wrenching snap as something in the crossbow and the strange flywheels and interwoven bow cable snaps. The cable goes flying off. Another flywheel whizzes off past the figure's head. And so they arm themselves with their gnarl and step forward. But their attack is already spent. The other 2 attack with their spears. Elongated Yeah, their blades stretched out, but both miss. You hear a shrill whistle, a scout's whistle, from the southeast. It's repeated on the southwest. It is a call to retreat. Seems like, or yeah, call to withdraw and to reassemble. It seems that they are with the zealots, but are not quite ready to move in to assist their allies yet. You expect that there's perhaps some other soldiers positioned on the other side of the hill from you all that they might be trying to sync up with. Likely they've dug in somewhere and you weren't able to see them from overhead.
I need to know when they're within 60 feet.
Copy that.
I think the turn order skipped the zealots.
Okay, it did. Thank you.
I assume the Lyra are just watching.
You hear them howling and baying savagely over on the other side of the hill toward the watchtower. You have seen them move through the trees here and there. And the rest of them that are standing sort of nearby are all standing behind Brightleaf. They all seem ready, but are waiting for Brightleaf to make some sort of signal. But as it's now the zealot's turns to attack. One here disengages. Let's see. Down to the hole, scrambles up the other side, and takes cover behind this. Using his action to disengage, he doesn't get to attack. Let's see here. This one also not mired in. I believe it was just the one that got... This one was stuck. Still difficult terrain, however.
Yep.
It moves over next to its ally. They both fire toward... Man, that's a tough one. The soldier that Kenneth had marked slips away and gets cover behind the pile of timber. This one sort of tries to crouch down behind the sandbags, getting partial cover. It seems that the rest of the zealots are attempting to slip toward the bottom of the map to meet up with the rest of any of their remaining allies, other scouts, anyone else who's still on the hill. But some of them are still within range. So, next in the order is Crenshaw.
All right. So as this guy's getting away, or trying to group back up, I think Crenshaw's going to start heading towards the south, because I think being on the north, if the backup's coming, is not the best idea if he wants to defend. So he's going to come up and try and engage with this one, right here, and just take a big old swing for
Another
come
crit.
on.
Yes.
19 this time.
Oh man.
Dude,
I love this bone sword.
awesome.
I love this sword. 12 damage.
Nice.
Once more, you can feel free to describe or pass as you
All right.
take another bone blade.
He's gonna come, and it's actually gonna be kind of like as this soldier's getting untangled and like maybe he's tripping a little bit.
Yeah.
Crenshaw is going to kind of run by and kind of slash him down from behind as he continues to move the 5, 10, 20, 30 feet towards the south. I think I did that math right.
Man, this is so on
for
character.
movement.
It's like really hitting his stride at this moment.
That's what I'm looking for, baby. So, that is what Crenshaw is going to do for his turn. So he's getting ready. He's trying to make it down south to take up a defensible position as they come up the hill.
Dude, awesome.
Buy some time. But he is going to call out to his allies. He was right next to Braum when he said that, and just let everybody know, like, you know, we're only a few minutes away from people reinforcing. They're coming from the south.
You heard Crenshaw, Eris. Get me to that pillar.
Right. Let's see here. Yeah, he was about to maybe fire at one of the closest ones, but as you say that, he instead spins his action and kind of slings you forward toward the pillar, you said?
Yep.
All right, let's see what kind of strength check he can make. What is your strength score? You might be able to assist him. 8, okay. So probably not going to give him much help there.
No.
Oh, no, he even has an athletic score, so we'll use that instead.
His strength is better. It's sad.
Oh, no. Yeah, he instead just walks and kind of tugs you along.
I'll have dismissed. These guys are dead. I'll dismiss the entangle.
Okay.
Just like a balloon.
All right, so as Crenshaw dashes forward, slaying one of your enemy and attempting to, you know, put eyes on and put himself in the way of whatever else comes. Next in the order is Kenneth. You don't see any other immediate hostiles. The others are sort of looking bewildered toward the Lear, at you all, toward Brightleaf.
All right, I'll pop out from behind cover here. Is this a mound that I can like get on top of and up and down?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll do that. I'll fly the owl over to this guy if we can get him there. Sure can. So he flies by. Gives me some help action here so I can get some advantage. His cover doesn't matter because I got sharpshooter on my guy, so there's that. And we will shoot an arrow at him.
Okay, well, perhaps I wasn't clear. He ducked completely behind it and is out of view. Not sure that sharpshooter...
Oh, well, if he's completely out of view, then there's not much I can do. All right, we got to go after this guy instead then, because he's still... Can I see him?
Yeah. You can. There's definitely
Right.
foliage, a little bit of foliage in the way, but you can spot, you can see him.
Does a 21 hit?
A 21 does.
Okay, it's just 12. The hunter's mark isn't on that guy, so it's just 12 damage.
Okay.
He was not currently injured, right?
Was not, no.
Okay, then I'll just
But now
hop back
is
behind
very
cover
much
and
injured.
be done.
The Soren sort of stumbles as he charges, just dashing away toward cover. Brahm turns a hard eye toward the Lear and shouts to the soldiers, Soren, circle up around the other side, pointing to the pillar itself. We'll leave it to our guests then. He once more eyes the Lear, not entirely willing to turn his back on them as the other soldiers move and reposition themselves. Doing nothing else this round but that. He instead walks very carefully around the pillar. Where you can kind of see what the Magi are doing. He can still look back and see the Lear, and he can look south through these large flowers and see his own soldiers. Whatever you're going to be, whatever you are about, I wish you well at it. And I hope it isn't going to take long, because soon more soldiers will be here. We'll defend you. I'll defend you if I must. But it would be altogether better if you were finished. Nigel sort of nods impatiently and turns back to Saida.
I'm doing everything in my power. And with that, if you don't mind, she takes a deep breath and tries to harness her focus perhaps deeper in a way than she's ever attempted before, as if nothing else mattered. She has her hands on the bottom of the stone, feeling the water hit the stone and run over her fingers. And hopefully, this time, we get some transmission. Should I do another religion check?
Yes. If you have Arcana, you could use that instead. If you have them both, you can roll with it. Well, you've already got advantage because Nigel is there helping you.
Okay. Let's do Arcana this time. I feel like it's pulling maybe from something deep within. So, second one's not bad.
22. So as
Yay for advantage.
yeah, as you almost probe into this pillar, it feels much larger on the inside than it should be. There's a whole almost world of conduits and reservoirs and such within it, all carefully balanced. But you find one place that it can be filled where it would overflow and sort of overbalance all the systems, where whatever was poured into it, if the right energy was poured into it, which you can sense the shape of, sort of the color, the texture of, to know what's a match, and it is that touch of healing. But you can feel it once it's placed here. It will begin to. That energy, of course, will be poured into it, but that will begin a process almost like siphoning water or fuel from a jug, where once the momentum and the weight of that energy poured into it will begin to draw your vitality and life essence. You expect that you'll have to keep your focus up, or you might just pass out. But nothing about it. Let's see here. But that's I guess the first thing that you recognize. Nothing about it seems painful or anything of the sort. And you're not sure that it's going to kill you in the traditional sense. Saida will certainly be gone if she completes this ritual, but whatever you are will remain as a part of this world. You're not sure exactly how it might play out. It might be an impression left behind here. It might even create or generate some sort of spirit or guide for the area, or it might just infuse some of Saida's vitality, her energy, her personality into the pillar itself. You won't really know until you begin the process, at which point you're not going to be able to stop it until you either succeed or fail, either pass out or become one with the world. It all comes to you certainly as an epiphany, a bright flash of insight.
I think at the epiphany, I think she sort of shakes a bit, opens her eyes, and kind of gasps for air, trying to then re-steady and focus herself. That's a lot.
It is. Zim, you can see Saida deep in concentration, her eyes closed, sitting and meditating, her hands on the base of the pillar. You can see light glowing through her fingertips, behind her eyelids, perhaps. But so far, you don't see any particular changes made. However, actually, briefly, Saida, do you begin that process now, or are you waiting for some sign or
If that's something I can do on my turn, I'm absolutely going to start it.
Okay.
Immediately.
Okay. So Zim, yeah, you can see the light flow. It's almost like pouring down from her back to the backs of her eyelids. You can see it moving through her skin, sort of down her cheeks, down the sides of her neck, down her arms, into her hands, and into the pillar. You see, at first, every few runes on it begins to glow. No particular pattern to it, but more and more, there's the sort of the story lines of the pillar begin to glow more brightly. But they're all beginning to glow with a bit of silver and sea green light.
Okay. How tall is the pillar again?
15 feet.
15 feet. All right. I will kind of lower and crawl myself on to the top of it.
Okay.
With levitation. And then I'm gonna just call out to Brightleaf. Hey, Brightleaf, if there's anything you need to do, I think now is the time. And then I will pull out my wand of fireballs and prepare, hold an action to launch a fireball if an aggressive group of zealots approaches within 60 feet.
Okay. You hear it. Well, the fighting over on this other side of the hill where the platform is being built. You also hear the great cracking of massive timbers. It seems like they are. Yeah, you can hear it sort of splinter, and you can see the part of the canopy shiver as this platform is knocked down. Some of them come bursting out. Others move around or leap over the pit, moving to form themselves. Once they see the dead, the Lear sort of as a pack, using that strange blurring, almost misty step-like, become blurring streaks of orange light. Move toward them, throwing javelins, attacking them, just hammering into them with their weapons, and scatter and destroy the dead that you have, that your company, that your allies had. They seem to spin, they howl, they shout, growl. Each of them, their weapons blaze brightly with that strange, watery looking energy, whether it's fire, whatever it is that's within, it shimmers within the crystals, blazes bright. They attack the dead with a fury. There's a baying howl that sort of makes the hair on your neck stand on end. It's not so much angry, it's mournful. Zim, as you touch down on the roughened top of the pillar, you can see old carvings in the top of it. But I believe that is something you had already checked out.
Yep.
And so yeah, you've, with the wand readied.
Ready the wand, and I believe, since I'm holding my action, that is it for me.
All right. As I have said, the sympathizers had moved over. Only one of them was able to make an attack. I'm going to go ahead and do that as they attack the one over here hiding.
You might have moved one of the zealots from its original location. The one that Kenneth shot. It's in a strange place.
Oh yeah, yeah. One crossbow attack from one of these. Slow roll. So one of your allies managed to hit the marked soldier.
So much silence must fill the silence.
So sorry. so sorry.
No,
Got intense.
no, it's our
Don't
job.
make it
It's our
hard.
job. We all gotta do it.
No problemo.
So how many other guys do you think are coming from the scout whistle?
20.
Make perception checks as the zealot that's nearest you all continues to slip away, sliding down the cliff and disappearing out of sight.
It's a 5 for Crenshaw. He's on the run. He's huffing and puffing in that armor.
The Loquitur got a 27 on perception. He's got his eyes out for everything.
Can you see other scouts slip from the trees over here? You see the same thing. Some of the treetops over here moving. You hear a group of soldiers that maybe down here. That's just off the map from. Actually, I think I can go ahead and ping so that way the viewers can see. It's down that way. but you can hear them moving along the cliff faces, moving back down to the bottom of the hill, likely waiting to group up with whoever it is that Brahm has said is incoming.
Do I see this large black lizard thing flying around that we were warned might show up?
You do not, but you do hear the baying of a company horn. Yeah, basically to the bottom left of the map. Definitely less than an eighth of a mile away, moving in your direction. But more importantly, at the very bottom of the map, you do hear another company, a few blasts, long and short, from their horn, indicating they've arrived, their number, and that they've arrived in position. So likely the scouts and the rest of the zealots on the hill have retreated down to the bottom of the hill where these other reinforcements are, and will soon be moving up the hill, where they're assembling anyway. You can make an insight check to see what do you think that timeline will look like. Okay. You'd
22.
You'd say you have 7 or 8 minutes before that company is right here, right where the others had left from. Before you have more bad company, so to speak.
I'll call it out to the group.
Keep my wand at the ready, pointing down that way.
Okay. Of course. All right, Crenshaw. Next in the order.
All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right. Crenshaw is gonna use his action to dash up here. He's gonna dash up with the Lear. Now, if I remember correctly, Brightleaf spoke a little bit of our language, right?
He seemed to be using some sort of charm or magic.
Okay.
There's some sort of amulet he was touching. That he activated.
I'm trying to remember if they said that. Well, all right. So I'm trying to think of what Crenshaw would do here, and not overuse my knowledge from our Thursday night game. So Crenshaw is going to run up with the Lear and kind of like stow his bone sword for the moment and pull out his heavy crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna. Are the Lear holding their spears, or do they have bows or anything of that
A
sort?
few of them have bows. A few of them have spears and shields.
Okay.
Yeah, most of them have spears and shields. A couple of them have bows.
Crenshaw wants to kind of motion with his crossbow and like motion to this little cliff edge along here. There's a little cliff edge looking down where he thinks the troops are coming from, and he's trying to pantomime like you see someone who doesn't speak any Spanish trying to order in Spanish at a Mexican restaurant kind of vibe going on here. Where it's just like, there, we're gonna, line here. Like, he's trying his best.
Just to get them to watch that area, basically?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's trying to, be like, form the line here. He's just kind of like, fight.
Make a persuasion check.
All right.
Let's see how well you can get your point across. As you run up, though, you see that one of the remaining zealot in sight did not run, has instead sort of stopped, has a sour look on his face. He's dropped his crossbow, his head sort of going quickly between the Lear and the soldiers. The Lear don't seem to really understand what you're saying specifically, but they, you can see them. They understand what you're pointing at. That's a place where enemies might hide behind or use for cover, and that's going to be the area that you expect them to come from.
Okay. I think that's about as well as he could have done, not speaking the language, or
Yeah.
having just fought the Lear and then now is their allies. So.
Yeah, and they're partially distracted too. They absolutely tore the Tireless Dead apart. The chainmail is ripped. The only thing they didn't touch was their silver weapons, which they kind of sneer and growl at, kick it away. When you point and gesture with your crossbow, part of the difficulty is that they're looking at the weapon and the silver bolts in it with fear and hatred. They do not like that metal, nor that you all wield it as a weapon.
Mm.
But they seem to understand. They're still, at least for the moment, in united in purpose with you all. So as you move up and sort of give your energy to the front as well, we're going to step over to Kenneth.
All right. Seeing that this guy surrendered more or less, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And this other guy over here got killed.
He dashed off down the hill, sliding off.
Went
Yeah.
up okay.
He's out of
So
sight.
I will move over to the stone and I'll start doing my own kind of investigation on the stone.
Okay. Okay. You can make it nature, religion, arcana, or history check. So step up to the weathered old pillar.
Oops, misclick. I'll try nature. 16.
It's interesting that the flowers around it seem to be flourishing. They're growing massively. But within the stone circle that the pillar is set on, there's no moss. Nothing seems to grow in it at all. There's just sort of a wet meal of like herbs and stuff that have been scattered occasionally. There's see bits of flowers and other things. It looks like just ritual materials are sort of chalk and dust the stones. Well, with the water pouring down, it's sort of almost a marsh of strange, some sort of plant materials from the jungles. You're not sure what it is. Likely some sort of offering. So it seems that the Lear are familiar with it and use the place for something. But at the moment they don't seem interested in it. Brightleaf has moved up. He's sort of standing on top of this carved stone that's been excavated and is watching you all.
Okay. With my bonus action, I'll move my Hunter's Mark to Crenshaw.
So in your investigation, what specifically were you looking for in the pillar? What are you trying to...
Well, we know that we have to activate this thing somehow, do some kind of ritual.
Oh, as you
So I'm
step
just
up,
trying to-
runes on it are glowing. Saida's hands are glowing. She is doing something to the pillar.
So do I get the impression that it would be foolish for me to do something also? Like, is it better if both of us are doing it in case one of us fails, or we can only do it one at a time?
From everything that you know and your insight on what you're seeing, you think it would probably be faster.
All right, then I'm gonna help. I do still want to move my Hunter's Mark to Crenshaw, though, so I can track him.
Okay. Nice move.
Saida just barely peeks out of the corner of her eye and slightly smirks and nods a little.
Awesome.
Well, it kind of tingles.
Brahm watches you all with that heavy brow, solid gaze, just observing. And finally, he says, "So you're sure about this, then? You all look pretty damn grim."
About as sure as anything else we've seen in this place.
That's
If you don't want to be a part of this, this is the time to get out.
right. May the Lost Gods find you. Brahm gives you each of the stare, sort of craning his head back so he can look up at Zim. RS has kind of stepped back around. Brahm nods and steps out. You can see him pull up his own crossbow, and begins to move the soldiers to the left and the right. They begin to sort of dig in, but he spares one to keep an eye on the other, truss him up, take his crossbow, the rest of his gear and such. Okay, Nigel says, I think I see what you're trying to do. It's definitely going to be quicker with more... Oh, he says as Kenneth brushes his fingers against the stone, and you begin to kind of feel that source that your energy comes from, that you put into your magic, that spark. It's connected to your vitality, but isn't wholly made of it. A quickening, perhaps, in your blood that allows you to use magic. That should definitely help. But it looks like it's going to be a close thing. And once more, you can hear horns from the base of the hill, as you think are a couple of companies coordinating, calling back and forth as they reposition themselves to the south and to the east, preparing themselves to move in unison to retake the pillar. You're not sure if they know what to expect, if they know who's taken it or not. Brahm didn't tell you what he knew or why. So, Saida, as you feel, as your magic pours into this pillar through your hands, you almost feel like drawn forward, as you almost feel not like it's draining your life, but that you're extending yourself into this vessel. You can start to feel the stone as if it's your own skin, wet with the constant rains. You also feel yourself rooted deep into the earth, much like the pillar is. But something happens, and something adds to that flow of energy. Something adds to it. You feel like you're not being drawn so forcefully, so quickly. It's less a strain. It's not something you're struggling with. It's just like playing out rope to another shipmate. Very easy. But as you lean over the pillar, you realize that that other source is Kinnit, who's now touching the other side of the pillar. Is there anything that Saya that you say or do?
Kind of wish I had prepared it, but it just came to me. An old shanty that she recited with her family. Let's see. Wondering if I could find anything. Oh, maybe. I don't know what this is, but we're gonna go with it because intuition.
I love it.
If you don't hear it, must feel it. All that time I spent on roads I'm healing, I was in a ding-dong scheming. Why they want to take my freedom? And then I think she just sort of hums it after that, as she perhaps continues to, her energy converts. I'm not exactly sure how that's going, but I imagine lights get brighter and boundaries dissolve further.
Absolutely. Yeah, as you can feel the rain moving across the pillar like it's your own skin. You can also feel how large the rains are, how they stretch across the land and the sea. You can feel that rain falling into the sea. You can feel the soldiers, you feel like at the bottom of the hill, amassing, organizing, preparing to move on against you all. You can feel the small insects and creatures burrowed in, hunkering down, while the storm rages, both the storm of violence and the storm of weather. So yeah, that sense growing and light getting brighter, shadows getting deeper. A sense of, a sense of strange peace wanting to overtake you, but that's sort of like, you have to focus. You can't relax too much. You are doing this. It's not happening manually. So, let's see here. Zim, as you perch on top of the pillar, prepared to lay down fire from above, you can hear those targets preparing, starting to slowly move up the hill.
Yay, I'm gonna actually do a casting of spike growth, and say 20-foot radius, 150 feet away from me. I would like to do it just at one of these areas where they can come up, get us on the south.
Sorry, what were you going to cast again?
Spike growth. You pop it so it goes onto there.
Awesome. I think I have another excellent token for that. Give me just a moment to pull that up. Let's see. All right, you should be able to control that and put that wherever you want.
Let's I am not seeing it. Oh, there it is. Giant mass.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Vines start sprouting out. Ones that were already there growing much larger and thicker, but others bursting out of the wet soil and sort of questing and wrapping, twisting around each other.
And I'll just yell out down to the south grouping there, like, avoid that if you can. It'll hurt a lot. And then that is it.
All right. So as the rest of your allies under Brahm's command now flanking and giving a wide berth to the Lear, but now on either side of that sort of path to the top of the hill that Crenshaw and the rest of the Lear are blocking, are now changed out their gnarl for repeating crossbows. Actions ready, they prepare for the company that's now beginning to march up the hill. As the seconds begin to stretch out, adrenaline now begins to fight war within your body against that sense of waiting that must be there. The adrenaline wants you to act now, but that's also where the panic wants to sort of take over, shut you down. So as you all hunker down, the rest of you prepare to wait, ready with your actions readied. It is Saida, Nigel, and Kinnett who continue their focus on the pillar, light gleaming and streaming from both of their fingers, flowing into the very stones and lighting up ancient runes where the carvings themselves were old and faded. The runes stand out bright with clear and sharp lines, showing what they must have looked like when they were carved, however long ago. But as you all fight to take and give back this this hill that you'd taken, as you defend it against enemies that are known and perhaps unknown, amassed against you, you can each, well, Kinnett and Crenshaw and Zim, you can all see, it's faint, translucent, but it's a massive, squat figure standing over the like, just filling the sky between you and LandFall. As you can see, if you follow 1 foot down, you can see it's on the land. As you follow the other foot down, you can see it's standing in the sea. You're not sure it's entirely visible to everybody. If everybody could see this, there'd be panic. You're not sure anyone else would be able to focus on anything. But this figure, hundreds of feet tall, dark and shadowy, a sense of malevolence, not hatred, just the desire to do harm. You know this figure, Crom, was named once by Brightleaf. Brightleaf points again and says the name. He then strides past to stand behind his warriors and prepare whatever magics he has for the next fight. But let's take a short break. Let's pause here and take 10. Stretch our legs and get some water. Check our messages, anything we got to do, and come back to it in 10 minutes.
That sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, gang. We're going to take a short break. Be back in 10. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned. All right, let's see here. Oh, not quite. Okay. All right, we are back, everybody. So at the top of the order, you can hear the battle horns of two groups syncing up. And you hear the long single note by the lead group. Sounds like the larger company at the base of the path, south on our map. And another that'll be coming up from the left on our map. But yeah, you can even through the rain, you can hear them. They're being, the soldiers are, well, it's tense on the firm, so soldiers tend to march in silence when they have a purpose, when they know they're about to be in a fight, especially. But you can hear the rattle of their gear, and you can spot them moving through the undergrowth as they begin to move up the side of the hill. Now, several minutes pass while Saida and can continue to pour their energy into this ancient pillar. Ares seeming to stand guard nearby. Nigel's offered what help he can, but seeing that Saida and Kinnit are both there and you can both give each other aid, Nigel moves up next to his next to Ares and says, I hear this thing has a defensive dome that might be raised. Well, in case you're thinking of raising that at some point, I think I'll stay just inside the circle of stone, says Nigel. Now, Saida and Kinnit, if you two will both give me additional checks, whether Arcana, Nature, or Religion. Okay. All right. So remembering what you all learned last time, Kinnit, you're able to find a few other maybe you might think of as like levers inside the pillar, things that you can move. You're certain that one will tap whatever energy is in it to heal people inside it. Another one will raise that defensive screen. But you're able to find the third one that is what activated the defenses, what summoned the wood woad. But it's also connected to something on the southern side of the hill, or the left side of the map. You're not exactly sure what it is, but you're certain that it's another summon like the wood woad. But it's not going to summon it here. You think they'll be summoned to the side of the hill. It might give some of your enemies trouble. But it'll tap some of the resources of the pillar itself. So you have a brief moment to, some time to discuss that as everybody waits tensely for reinforcements to arrive. So filing that information away, you can choose to act on it now if you want to, or you can choose to use that later if you want, or not use it at all, of course. So, at the top of the order, Crenshaw, it's you first. See a few scouts. You can kind of barely see them. They're very stealthy, but you know the hill pretty well. You know where people can climb, and you also know what to look for when it comes to the scouts.
All right. Crenshaw's going to make his move up to kind of the ledge of the cliff, maybe right here. And can he see any of them just yet?
Yes.
Okay. So he'll yell back, "They're here!" And he's gonna ready his crossbow for when they're in range to fire a shot
Okay.
as his action.
They are certainly in range. For some reason.
Okay, awesome.
Token is not. All right.
I'll take a shot at one of them. Doesn't matter which.
All right.
For a
Please do
15 to
not
hit.
notice there.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. As the scouts are a bit more lightly armored, that 15 is going to hit. That is their AC.
Awesome.
So left or right, you choose.
I'm gonna go right for 3 damage.
Big damage.
Yeah, Crenshaw's not very good with the bow. He's not a good shot.
Still, you wound the scout moving through well, it's sort of low-lying, maybe 3 or 4 foot tall plants, massive leaves. You have like sort of weaving through them. You get a grunt of pain from the woman, but they obviously are still moving. You don't hear them drop heavily or anything like that.
I think he likes his position where he's at, so.
Okay. The Lear seem to be, waiting for a mass of soldiers to arrive. As they watch you attack the scout, they just sort of ignore him, showing some disdain for the some of the tactics you all seem to use. All right, so next in the order is Kenneth. You hear Crenshaw fires crossbow at one of the scouts. You can't quite see him from where you're at, but you can, perhaps in the treetops nearby, you can spot this one from a distance. But of course, Kenneth, you are concentrating. So with this new awareness, this sense that you can activate a summons on the side of the hill, it seems a powerful summons, and that there would be not that it'll be like the wood. Like there'll be multiple smaller creatures, you think, that will be summoned. And again, they'll be summoned hundreds, a few hundred feet away down the hillside, but potentially in the path of some of your enemies.
All right, definitely not yet. They're not close enough. If we do summon them, summoning them when they would be behind the enemy seems like more fun. So
Fair enough.
I'm not gonna risk draining any power from the pillar, and I will just continue to concentrate and weave and do whatever it is that seems like the right thing to do here.
Okay. All right, just a moment. Adjusting the music a little bit.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
You hear Brahm tell his soldiers to steady themselves. Nigel begins casting a spell, but you are, I imagine, too busy to focus on what it is, just trusting that it'll be useful, whatever it is. Saida, as you continue to pour your energy into it, you start becoming aware of these other sort of triggers, things you can activate within the pillar. And you, just to be clear, if you all do decide you want to, you can activate those without ceasing your focus, your primary focus. You could do that as part of your bonus actions every round, but it will drain some of the pillar, which is currently full. So Saida, is there anything that you say to Kenneth or to the Magi or Zim or anyone nearby?
Do you sense its power? She's referring to the summons.
Yes, but I feel it's best to wait.
She takes a deep breath, very unsure of that, but for the first time in her life, she listens about waiting.
I'm glad you guys think have something good, because that's at least 2 companies coming this way.
Are you sure? Really wants to do it.
That's 2 companies less than they're gonna need.
She actually just does the Saida thing anyways, wanting to listen, but then decides to summon what she can, preemptively, not taking any chances, not finishing what they've started here.
With your power flowing through it, it's an easy thing to let some of that power flow into that one reservoir, which then sort of, you can feel it drop and things shift within the pillar. You can feel energy pulse along almost an artery along the hillside, downward. You can feel it blossom upward, and you hear suddenly a high-pitched chittering, as if a very large insects on the side of the hill. The owl can see shapes moving on the hillside. They almost as if the jungle itself is moving. It almost can't discern an anatomy or structure. Just shapes within the jungle moving pretty rapidly. Some of them moving up the hill, some of them spreading out along the hill. Zim, seconds later, you hear a battle shout from one of the company moving up the southern hill. You hear the distant sort of clicking of repeating crossbows. You see the occasional bloom of red fire within the trees as their Magi unleashes likely fire bolts on whatever their enemy is. What does Zim do?
Well, that's something. I'm going to look around and just take a perception of the sky, because the last time we used this, it seemed like stuff is drawn to it when it gets used. So I want to take a quick look to the skies, just around for anything else coming up on us that's not the effort.
A couple of things come to you at once. As you look up, looking to the skies, once more you can see that vaguely transparent, dark shape. Figure squatting over the bay. This Crom. You see the great head slowly turn in your direction. A dark glint of malevolent focus as that gaze seems to sweep slowly along the land. You see to the northwest a dark speck in the clouds. It's not, you can't tell if it's moving towards you, it's pretty far away. You also hear crashing in the underbrush. It sounds perhaps like the tireless dead, but larger. Floating up, being up on top of the pillar, not quite as high as the trees, you are nonetheless able to see climbing the cliff and now crashing through the underbrush towards some of your allies is a massive skeleton, 9.5 feet tall, with a sloping pointed skull, backward bending knees. It looks as if the effort has animated the leer. Knowing what a
That's
terror the
disturbing.
dead are for the leer, I think this is probably some sort of terror tactic, as the leer have a strong reaction to the dead. It seems that the effort knows, or suggests that the effort knows that seeing their own skeletons coming toward them might demoralize them.
Shout out.
But like 15 feet
Crenshaw,
tall or something?
Yeah.
What's that?
But it's a leer, but it's like super tall, or is it leer
Yeah,
sized?
leer are tall. They're like, if they stand straight up, they're like 9 feet tall. And
Okay.
This one is kind of standing up and walking with a strange stomping gait.
Crenshaw, we have company of another kind. I'll point towards it. Feels. Man, I do not have a lot of those left. Going to use one of my wild shapes and summon a bird, another owl-like creature, with my wild companion ability. Summoning myself a familiar. And I'm gonna try and get eyes on any allies that, because we told them to come this way. Asherdan and the like. So I'm going to command my owl to fly up, and I'm going to drift off into its eyes and see if I can't see any of our allies coming this way.
All right, I've brought an owl out. You should have control over it. Nope. Nope. Hold on, Stone. It's on the wrong layer. There you go.
Okay, I'm not going totally blind
No.
yet. I do not have control of that owl.
Okay. Let me try it again then.
There we go. Thank you much.
Mhm.
Okay, so this owl is going to fly off, and it's going to try and look for, gonna fly mostly upwards, and it's going to try and look for those who we believe to be allies.
Awesome. Okay. You can go ahead and make a perception check then for the owl, as it ranges off a distance away from you all, and is looking out pretty far too.
Only an 8.
So it doesn't manage to spot anything this round, as it sort of circles wide out from the hilltop, looking toward the strand. But you do see that the owl can see a heavy furrow in the sand going from the bulwark that camps at the sort of metal dock that's set up where the bridge locks in. Specifically streaming out of the bulwark camp, which suggests that one of your enemies is going to be the company that holds the bulwark camp, which is pretty accomplished, pretty tough company. A field commander, Klesh, a half-orc woman, and a handful of pretty potent magi are likely moving on you.
Bulwark Camp's also moving this way. I suggest we get done whatever needs doing. Alright, that is my go.
Your allies begin to fire their crossbows, the Lear their great bows, and the other Lear their own spears and javelins. Some of them have quickly taken what are straight saplings and sharpened them down for makeshift javelins as well. They begin sighting and firing into the jungle, as you all see. Well, Crenshaw specifically. You see armored ranks of soldiers coming up the pretty cleared path coming up the hill. They are tight and together. Let's see here. Now, at this point, the groups are large enough, and I'm not going to roll individually for them. I'm going to be making group checks. As they come up into view, they begin exchanging fire, shooting up past the ridge, firing at Crenshaw and the allies behind him. The scouts open fire as well. And there's more crashing in the underbrush as other large skeletons climb up the cliffs into view. Some of them into view, others into foliage where you can just hear them. And yet another climbs up into spike growth. So go ahead and roll damage for that spike growth, Zim.
Five piercing.
All right.
Oh, I lied. It's moved further in than I thought. Let's give it another 2d4.
Yeah, there we go.
It looks like it's moved at least 10 feet in. Another 5. 5's are on my side tonight.
Nice. Adjusting a little bit of music in the background. All right, with a total of all right. As it strides forward, let's see. It's tearing through the thorny vines there. It's gonna be cutting into it, but it's bone, hardened bone, infused with magic. And these, and you know that the tireless dead are always pretty tough, but there's what you're seeing suggests that these things are quite a bit tougher than the normal tireless dead are. It does move more slowly, however, and it's only able to make it right into the center.
But it moved more. Fantastic. It gets more damage.
Yeah, perfect.
Another 8d4.
I love it.
22.
Right. Awesome. Thorns are breaking off, sticking into the bone, cutting like furrows into it as well. As your allies, the Lear and effort soldiers, begin attacking, the scouts or the soldiers on the right attack the nearby scout. The rest all attack the front rank along with the Lear. Many bolts miss. They're driven in and hung up on armor, baffled by cloaks. A few of them do drive home, and one soldier falls. Another takes a pretty serious wound. And then it is the Zealots' turn to attack. Make a few individual attacks from them for Crenshaw as the first rank. Focuses entirely on Crenshaw. So that'll be 5 crossbow attacks coming at Crenshaw.
Whoa.
You can roll a d6 for that first mishap.
All right. Okay, that's a 2 for that mishap.
Okay. Double checking my chart over here.
And one of those attacks will land.
Okay.
The 23.
For 7 piercing.
All right.
Yet, yeah, this catastrophic failure from another one of these gnomish crossbow bolts, or crossbows. It explodes in a shower of broken cogs. The cable whistles through the air, tumbles off into the jungle, and one of the nearby allies is sort of hit in the shoulder and neck with some of the shrapnel. Amongst them is a tall, sort of whip-narrow human as the commander that stands over them. Some of you might know him as a much maligned figure. Just people hated training with him. He generally sends his soldiers. He's pretty careless with his soldiers. Next to him is a warforged that you all have heard about, also known as the Unyielding. A figure named Judgment. Judgment raises his wand and points that bone-white wand toward and past Crenshaw. And that seed of fire launches itself outward. It hits the ground roughly behind Crenshaw and explodes outward across the Lear allies, across Crenshaw, forcing. Actually, no, wait. Nope. Yeah. So a fireball explodes over, forcing Crenshaw to make a dexterity saving throw, and all of the Lear as well.
It's a 13 from Crenshaw for the dex save.
All right. believe the owl is sufficiently high up that it's not going to be. Oh. All right. Did that roll come through?
Nope.
Okay. Well, it is. That's going to be 18 damage. The saving throw is a 14. So that is 18
Says
points of damage
13.
to Crenshaw. Oh,
This
13.
says 13 on the thing, so
Yeah, 13 is it. That's yeah. Sorry about that. So it's 13 DC, 18 damage to Crenshaw. The fireball then
he saved.
evaporates. Excellent.
So it's 20 or 32. Well, okay.
Oh no! I rolled really low on the damage die for that, or like yeah, the digital dice rolled really low just to show
Okay,
it.
I'm curious because he made the save. If it's a 13,
Okay, excellent. Then 9 points of fire damage to Crenshaw. One of the dead charges through the underbrush and closes with Niels or Brom, but having dashed, it doesn't get to make an attack. However, the tireless Lear steps forward toward the soldiers on the right and does get to attack. Woof. Oh, that's not right.
There we go.
Yeah, that's better. With one swipe of its bony claws, it nearly fells one of the soldiers. Blood paints the foliage around briefly before the rain washes it away. Another one. This one manages to close, but having climbed, it cannot make an attack on Crenshaw just yet. You all can hear increased shouting from the soldiers toward on the left-hand side, dealing with whatever it is that Saida summoned. You hear the strange chittering, but some of it's like stretched out, almost sounds like a scraping howl sound from some dry or almost wooden throat. Next in the order is Crenshaw.
All right. Crenshaw is going to use. Let's see. Let me make sure it's right. Bonus action. Okay, beautiful. All right. Crenshaw's going to use his second wind to regain. If it'll roll it. There we go. Oh, that sucks.
Is that a 1?
Yeah. No, it's a 2.
Ah.
Yeah. So he's going to regain 6 hit points.
All right, better than 0.
Yep. And then he is going to. Let's see. Instead of subjecting himself to another barrage from all of that, all of the soldiers that fired. Do I want to waste the disengage action? I mean, he knows that the he's gonna take the disengage action and go 30 feet back, kind of through the leer. Just trying to get back because he sees that leer tireless coming for them, and it's just Brahm there, so he's gonna fall back to protect the pillar.
Okay.
So he's coming. And that'll be his turn.
Okay. Briefly step back, as I forgot to resolve, for the rest of the enemy company coming in. They fire entirely toward the leer first thing. The rest of them after the front rank fires at Crenshaw. The first leer drops in a hail of silver bolts. The others on the front rank do take some wounds. And next in the order is Kenneth. As you can feel the changes happening on the hill, you can feel every leaf on the hillside, every blade of grass, every petal bouncing as the raindrops hit it. You can hear this and feel the sky split with power as lightning strikes and forks across the sky. You can feel power flowing from you, from Saida, into the pillar. You can feel the pillar shifting, activating, summoning allies further down the hill. But still, that great head on those massive shoulders, barely perceptible, squatting over the bay, its head still sort of turning and slowly fixing upon the hill.
Do I get the impression that I would have time to shoot an arrow at something, or is it better just to focus on continuing to do the magic?
You have a bonus action you can spend on your round. That speck in the sky has moved. It's sort of circled around to the north, and it does seem to have gotten larger and closer.
Okay, I have nothing useful as a bonus action.
Okay. Brahm turns and makes an attack on the undead leer and misses. Nigel takes a deep breath and strides to about here and points his own wand and launches a fireball to the south. From where he's at, he can kind of only hit the back rank, but he hits several of them.
I'm gonna get out Neil's. He can get all of them. 20-foot radius.
Yeah, he's looking downhill. There's this cliff sort of in the way and foliage. I'm saying he just can't get all of them.
See Neil's. Okay.
But yeah, he could definitely get Niels and those guys.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he can center it right on Neil's, he'll get the whole grouping. If I did my measurement work earlier correctly. This was my exact plan as well.
Okay. Well, As the seed of fire arcs toward them, Judgment raises his hammer high up and brings it down. You see the seed of fire knocked to the ground, and it sizzles out as it hits the mud. Seems that Judgment was able to counter that spell, or raise some shield around them. Nigel, that's his movement, so he stays there. Saida, is there anything that you do or say?
Well, I know I need to keep my focus on the pillar. I imagine I don't have any control or say over what the summons do.
You can feel them. Yeah, you could spend your bonus action to direct them. They're kind of scattered around. Some of them are moving up the hill. Others are just sort of spread out around the place where they were summoned. You can feel that they're fighting, but they're not necessarily seeking to fight the soldiers on the side of the hill. Just sort of in their way, you think.
I mean, do I get the sense that they're doing a pretty good job?
You don't think tactically they just you summoning them is the only tactical thing that's happened. Some of them are, like I said, the company has stopped and is dealing with some of them, but they don't seem coordinated or intentionally attacking your enemies.
Well, I would love to suggest or use my energy to influence with my bonus action. Have them attack the nearest oppositional forces.
Okay. You can feel them begin to change direction. You can feel them begin to sort of focus back downhill. Those that have charged up the hill, you can kind of sense them now moving back toward at least the source where you summoned them from. So, next in the order, Zim.
All right. Following Nigel's example, I'll also send a fireball right onto Niels, which will hit the whole group.
You are high up enough to be able to lay out a better target. And the only other Magi in the group has already used their counter. So you can go ahead and roll that damage, and I will make some saving throws for them. $32, nice.
Indeed.
That is a lot of low checks.
Impressive that more than half failed with such a low DC.
Fire sweeps over them. You hear men and women screaming as fire enters their lungs, sweeps over their flesh, and burns their clothes. But it vaporizes the reins around it, and for a brief moment, steam rises before the reins hammer everything back down. What does Zim do next?
Sim lets out a sigh, wishing he didn't have to do that. That was using an item. I can't use another item. That's gonna wait till next turn. I don't want to do that. Man, druids, you have no bonus actions. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna grab a few more stones from my pack and just infuse them with magical energy and just put them in from one pocket to the other. That's my magic stone re-enhancement for my cantrip, and that is it.
Awesome. Your allies divide their attention roughly between the two tireless, or the two large undead. At this point, the Lear some of them give wailing, despairing howls. One seems to break. It charges madly into the thorns, moving 5, 10, 15 feet, I believe, through the thorns as it moves to close. 15.
B64, so hit them all as themselves. 9 points of thorny damage.
And its own claws blaze that sort of orangish red as its weapon's forgotten. It just tries to tear this Lear skeleton apart with its claws and hands. And it makes a fair start as it pulls some of its rib bones away and snatches the ulna, smaller forearm bone. The other Lear lope, dash, or turn into those streaking blurs of light momentarily as they close with the other tireless. There are small explosions of that wavering red energy, explosions from their claws, from their bodies as the Lear skeleton lunges out and slashes at them with its one of the Lear is hurt very badly in the exchange, but between them they take down one of the tireless. Whoops. Oh, they're
Oopsies.
Yeah,
They were all linked.
they were all linked. Ah, goodness.
That's okay. I've been keeping track of the hurt one in the weeds.
Perfect. What were those hit points?
23 for the one in the thorns.
Nice.
And then Brahm missed his, so he's still got full over there.
Yep.
Brahm, not good at anything.
No. But some of the Soren close. Others come in with their crossbows.
Like that we're all packed together. Judgment still has a wand of fireball. That's a terrible idea.
This time, Brahm is hit with both of the creature's claws and goes down in a spray of blood and soil that's cast up as Brahm's pretty heavy frame hits the hillside. Marching in steadily behind this company, however, is another company. They immediately they come in. They're preceding them before they're even in sight. They're volleying silver bolts along the hillside. You find yourself hunkering against in the lee of trees or just standing in the open and giving a prayer or counting on your luck. Kenneth, you noticed that the figure that you were worried about, that speck, has indeed resolved itself into a winged lizard with a figure on its back, quickly growing larger. You can even see the sky, like lightning, arcing from the clouds to hit this figure, but it doesn't seem to stop it. And it doesn't continue. It seems like this figure is absorbing lightning as it flies, arcing around the hilltop before it made its approach. Crenshaw, how do you proceed? You see this thing coming in the sky, the shape of Crom squatting over the bay, another company moving up the path beneath you.
I would, I'm gonna shout out that a healing bubble would be really nice about now. And, he's gonna move to intercept, this Lear, imposing himself between the Lear tireless and the pillar. And he is going to attack it with his bone sword. For a 20 to hit.
Awesome.
If that hits, it's 7 damage.
It does hit.
All right. And gosh, I'm gonna save it. To pop the good berries in my mouth, would that be a bonus action?
Yeah.
All right,
Like a
I'm gonna
healing
need,
potion.
I'm gonna stuff my hand in my pocket as I'm running and grab both good berries and just shove them in my mouth and chomp them up real quick.
Okay. So as that speck looms larger, your allies fighting furiously in one way or the other. You've been in a lot of battles. Crenshaw can sense things are getting worse. You're holding out pretty well for now. Another company is coming, likely the Bulwark Company, and that figure that you were warned about, you can see this something flying towards you all, gathering lightning as it comes. Next in the order is Kenneth. As you can, you sense power, a different power building within the pillar itself. You can feel it's almost like the pillar has grown roots and is drawing up power. It's quickly replenished whatever side it used to summon allies on the side of the hill. So if there's anything that you wanted to do, if you had any use for the pillar, other than this larger ritual.
So the first time we were there, we were able to summon some kind of a protective bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still something we can do?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now seems like a good time then. I'll try to get that fired up.
Okay. Give me just a moment.
That was pretty small, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much just within the stones themselves. So you all are within it.
As long as it's protecting me inside and we're playing the objective, that's what counts, right?
Yes. I'm going to move RS out here to indicate that he moved out. I've just been rolling him and I've been rolling all your allies as one each round. So yeah, it's golden, almost like wavering particles begin to drift downward, sort of within the area itself. It's like thicker toward the edge, so you can really see like the edge of the dome itself. But it's like a faint and constant golden rain inside. Starts falling down. The water and the rain immediately starts sliding around the outside of it. Zim, you, as high up as you are, you kind of almost have to, you're right up in the top of this dome.
I'm probably laying on top of the pillar right now. So my levitation is gone from casting spine growth.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So yeah, you drop back down onto it. And,
When you lost concentration on the levitate, did you make that balloon sound?
Yeah. Of course. Is there any other?
So Ares has dashed in next to Crenshaw as well. Nigel sort of, Nigel launches his fire bolts just from his hands. Toward
Can I shout out to Nigel before he does that?
Sure.
Try to control them. Use the amulet.
A distasteful look crosses his face, but he reaches up to the amulet. He frowns, and this one immediately goes rigid and takes a step back. I don't like the way that feels.
I know, but it's our best bet.
Let's see here. So Zaida, you can vaguely sense that you can sense that these creatures, these summons, whatever they are, you think they're plant-based. Couldn't say why you know that, but you know that they're responding to your direction, but you're not sure exactly how they're faring. You could spend your bonus action to try to find out, or you could spend that bonus action some other way.
I would like to spend my bonus action gauging if there's anything more I can do to accelerate the process of what needs to happen with this pillar.
You can always make an additional religion check and see if you rolled higher than your last one.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't remember what the last one was, but I think it's higher.
I think it might be. Just scroll back up and see. In either case, no, it is a slow thing. And the fighting continues outside the dome that Kenneth has raised. Your attention sort of half on your surroundings and half within yourself, within the pillar. Zim, as you begin to act again, you can see this figure You can make out the dragon, a great green beast that it rides on. You can see the glossy green armor that the figure wears, and the green spear it raises over its hand, crackling with lightning trapped within. It's within 300 feet. It doesn't look like it's ready to act yet. You're certain that, yeah, it will be acting very, very soon. It's flying in pretty quickly.
Fast.
Yeah.
All right. I think in the protective bubble, who knows if this will protect us from the dragon rider, but hopefully, I'm gonna try and take control of this tireless leer down south.
All right. Make that Arcana, Religion, or Nature check. So you're a druid. I guess Nature's going to be for you. But you got a pretty good Arcana too, I think, right?
It's practically the same.
Yeah.
Let's try nature. The dice have not been on my side today, so let's see what they do right now. Not great. 11.
Okay. You feel a cold stab in your midsection as something sort of lashes back. It doesn't do any damage, but something went wrong. The creature, it seems to it jerks as if stunned or surprised. It opens its mouth and gives a hollow, long, groaning howl.
All right. That was my action. I have no bonus actions. That's it for me.
Okay. So as we step into the NPC's actions, let's check everyone's time and attention. I'm thinking I have about 20 more minutes. If everyone's still on board. If anyone has to go though, we can stop here for the session. I can finish cinematically for the moment. If we do continue, either way, we're going to start stepping into more cinematic rounds, less crunch and mechanics of the system, and more the spirit of what your character can do. But let's check in. How's everybody feeling? Does everybody need a hard quit now? All right.
20 is
I'm
pushing
good.
it for me, but I can do like 15, and I know that seems small, but it's just the nature of things. So I say 15.
Okay. Does that work for everybody else, or anybody else need to cut it now? Okay.
No,
Well-
I'm happy with it.
Okay.
I'm good to go.
All right. Well, let's take a short break. I'm going to use the restroom really quick. So I'm going to transition really quick, and I'll be back in just 2 minutes. All right. We are back, everyone. So, as your allies, the Lear and the effort, the Lear sympathizers, the effort that are on your side, continue firing at one of the nearby Tireless, and are firing at the next company that's coming up the hill. You see Klesh, you see several other figures you all recognize from the hill, and a handful of magi holding up a defensive screen around them. Their attention, though, it turns as this figure on a dragon rides over the top of the battle, sort of curving over the hill, scattering lightning across the hilltop itself. Several of your allies and your enemies are scattered. The dragon then disappears behind the curve of wet foliage, massive trees on the hill, still on the hilltop. The lightning, however, mostly tore into your allies. Three of the Lear are dropped to the ground. A few of the other effort soldiers, those from the bulwark, Klesh and the others, take that as an opportunity and drive themselves forward a bit. The Magi among them lashing out with fire and their own lightning. As they crest over the hill, and Nigel and Ares and Crenshaw are driven back around the sides of this defensive dome, taking positions along the rocks and in the trees, taking cover now from the sky as well as from below. You all find yourselves ducking in cover, Crenshaw firing from cover, stepping out and dispatching people that come near or driving them off, and stepping back in cover before the dragon appears, lightning flying from the spear of the Manai, and noxious green gas billowing out from the mouth of the dragon. Finally, the dragon arcs out, but this time it gives no breath weapon. It lands atop the protective dome, the Manai chanting and pointing down. Kinnit and Saida, Zim, you can sense it trying to dispel or alter the dome itself, while the dragon the dragon does some strange rolling thing with its neck, likely trying to work up more of this noxious bile. So, top of the order, Crenshaw. As a Manai on the back of a dragon stands crouched on top of the dome. The hilltop now is barely littered with fallen soldiers and the dead, as the company that came had a massive team of undead before them. Nigel blasted most of them apart with his wand. He says he has one more fireball. What do you do, Crenshaw?
So you said Crenshaw is crouched with a rest behind some rocks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna transition us from the map as we're cinematic at this moment.
So Crenshaw is looking at Arrest, feeling the hopelessness of the situation, and he's gonna say kind of like enemies behind cover, arrows are plinking against the rocks, and he just looks at Arrest in like a rare moment of quiet in the battle and just says, not much we can do against that dragon. But
well, I'd say there's plenty we can do.
What do you say we give it a go?
Well, Kenneth said I'm going to survive this.
Well, it's no sense in living long if you don't live for anything. So he's gonna pull out that last little bit of the, Arrest has it. He's gonna say, let's top off Bosch's flask real quick, and just like have like a moment between them where they both kind of drain half and the other half, and then Crenshaw's gonna want to. They basically just kind of nod, and he's gonna go, let's go for it, and they're gonna make a trying to draw the dragon away from the dome. Fires a shot like with his crossbow. I don't know how cinematic you wanted to go with like the actions or anything, but yeah,
As much as you want to. Let's go.
He wants to try and draw the dragon's attention, maybe firing a crossbow and charge and draw his sword to go for a swing.
You can do that. You can definitely succeed, but then you will have the dragon's attention and all that
All right.
entails.
Cool. Let's do it.
So you get the dragon's attention, then what do? You try to draw it off. So I imagine you move away, break line of sight. How do you draw the dragon off? You get its attention. What does that look like? What do? You shout at it?
Yeah, trying to get its attention. We're gonna shoot at the dragon and its rider with crossbows. Maybe take a page out of Zim's book and throw a rock at it. I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
He's possibly he's been in the fight for a while now, so uses his last bolts and then chucks rocks and draws his sword, and it tries to draw it across the ditch. He doesn't want to get caught in that ditch they built, but
Right.
find some cover and draw it into melee range where he can try and possibly wound it.
Okay. So the two of you make hell for leather across the storm-dashed hilltop. You skirt these massive blue sleep flowers, firing and shouting at the dragon. The figure on its back, ignoring you, focused only on the dome. But the dragon turns. It takes a long, loping step to follow you, which isn't far as you all drop down into the trench. But it has a step closer, away off of the dome, its attention on you. Now, to keep its attention, what are you here for? I think you should make an attack with that bone blade.
All right. Yeah. All right. So, yes. Crenshaw rolls a nat 1
All right.
on that attack. I'm gonna just blow my GM inspiration on this death swing.
This is the time for it, for sure.
All right, a 14. And
Okay.
it's not really too much better, but
That's all right.
Twice is good.
yeah.
All right. So, as you draw the blade out, you drop your crossbow, drawing the blade out. Just as the dragon's snout comes over, you drive the blade upward as it opens its mouth, and noxious green gas almost drools out from between its teeth. Immediately begin burning your skin. But as your arm drives forward, the blade stops on bone. You feel it break. But you can see the last thing that you see is a look of agony on the dragon's face as the dragon's head rolls away as this green mist overtakes you. You also you see a shape slipping out. It's Ares, who's managed to slip out of the area of the breath weapon and is, for the moment, alive. Kenneth, you see Crenshaw draw the dragon's attention away. You see the dragon take the blow, reel, and fall to its side. You can see the bone blade protruding from the top of its snout, where Crenshaw stabbed right through its mouth. The Manai is sort of steps off and is now floating as the dragon's body rolls off the top of the dome. As more and more of your awareness is pooling into this, spreading into this, through it, into the stones below, into this, and every drop of rain that touches it, you can feel like further and further into the sky. You can feel the movements of great clouds, the forces of lightning within what almost feels like your body now. Kenneth is a more and more vague concept as the moments go, but your inner purpose, your inner drive is still there. Your purpose is still intact. Is there anything else that Kenneth does?
Can I become the lightning and just strike them in the eye?
Make a nature check.
Not losing focus on what I'm doing here, but if I can like feel the sky and all that stuff, like, can I do a call lightning as a bonus action?
You can, you can use your bonus action. You can make a either wisdom saving throw or nature check. Oh, but also take charisma saving throw.
And I was going to dump some spell slots into this thing so you guys would have advantage on something, I was hoping.
Wisdom save 6.
Well, your sense of place and even space is confounded at the moment. Lightning begins scattering across the hilltop, skittering over the dome, plunging into the body and scattering across the body of the dragon, heaped and curled around the golden dome, and being drawn into the spear of the Manai. But you can also sense distantly it crashing to other places in the hilltop, sundering, splitting trees, striking down to the very bones of the earth, scattering enemy and ally alike in painful lines of jagged white and blue. Let's see here. You see a brief moment. Nigel has stepped far around. He's sort of standing on that excavated stone, likely the work he was directing. He's standing on it. He's holding his wand in reserve, that last fireball he mentioned, and he's just firing small bolts of fire across, toward effort troops, the zealots. You see Ares suddenly next to him. Ares, his face partially red and blistered from some sort of magic. His eyes set and focused as he kind of stands shoulder to shoulder with this strange benefactor of a magi. Saida, as you can dimly sense what's happening on the hill, your sense is more and more spreading out, more and more pooling into this, not just into the pillar, but into the ritual. As you know, it'll be released once the ritual is complete. But you can sense Kenneth. You sense the person underneath what you've known, the thread through all of his experiences. You sense a joke or him getting in trouble as a small boy, small memories that aren't yours, that you can easily place as Kenneth's. are just tickling the edges of your memory, I suppose. Again, that sense of spreading out into the rain, into the jungle, into friend and foe, into those who are falling in battle. You still have that bonus action. The dragon no longer squats atop, its body curled around the dome, but the Manai still floats above, its energy pointed down. You can feel the dome wavering, weakening.
Has it is a divine sense, and so just this Manai floating overhead is probably just, especially with her senses spreading out the way that they are, is perhaps one of the most foul, repugnant sensations she's ever experienced. And given that she's so connected with Kenneth in this moment, I think her energy makes another attempt to direct the lightning, as that's something that maybe perhaps was discovered by Kenneth and now can be refined by Saida.
All right.
Hopefully.
You can make an Arcana check, or a Wisdom or Charisma saving throw.
Let's do the Charisma saving throw. 15.
Okay. The lightning scattering the hilltops slows down, where it's striking kind of begins to shift and tighten toward the dome and the figure floating atop the dome, hovering just over Zim. Everything is suddenly backlit with bright, glaring white. Zim, you sort of know it's coming, so you can kind of turn your head away from it. Zim, you quickly turn your eye back up to see the power of this electricity spilling over the tip of the spear, as if the Manai just cannot absorb what's there. Its flesh begins to turn sort of gray. It begins to sort of run off in the rain, showing strange grayish pink muscle and their bizarre anatomy. You can see that almost gleaming, almost opalescent bone show through. But half of its face still a languid smile as it looks down, its finger still pointed at the dome still wavering. But the figure is very, very hurt. Next in the order, Zim. What do you do? Crouched underneath the dome.
Under the dome, on top of the pillar, I would like to continue empowering this dome and pillar by pouring all of my spell slots into it. 2 first level and a second level.
Okay. Saida, Kenneth, your sense of place, your sense of name fades. Memories of yours blur together. A third set of kelp farming and learning the gentle sort of magics of nature. And you realize that Zim is suddenly with you, his energies weaving along with yours. You can feel the pulse of that healing magic drawn up from him, perhaps something he wasn't aware of, or some new talent that's being born in this moment, at this end of things and beginnings of others. The lightning is almost constant now, and in fact, as it steadily pulses faster and faster into the Benai, the golden rain around you becomes so thick you can't see through it anymore, for those of you still aware of your body. The last thing you can really feel in your fingertips is the stone itself heating liquefying, running like candle wax over fingers that can barely feel it. Everything is suffused in bright blue light from that lightning. But that fades, it changes. The silver grows in from the edges, bringing with it an almost shimmering, cloudy, like sea green teal. All of that sense of strife, that driving, that barely leashed and shackled panic, like a horse you've saddled and ridden into a storm. All of that fades, and you are simply the rains. You are the water that runs across the land, that pools in many places, that carves paths across the land, that dances where the sunlight hits it, that washes away weariness and agony. Crenshaw, your vision fading, the cloud of gas now gone, but the sky itself is just strobing white above you, as a long, steady stream of lightning comes down from the clouds, twisting and weaving together from many sources, pulsing through the Manai's form. You can see it dissolve into bones and then nothing. The golden light suffuses, grows into the lightning. Once, as the final shaft of electricity comes down, that golden glow from the land spreads over you, Crenshaw, I'm sorry. You feel it rolling through you. You feel it purging the poisons out of you. You feel it healing not just new and recent wounds, but old wounds you'd forgotten about. As that gold flows over you as well, you can feel it protecting you from the heat of the stone itself, the hilltop itself. You begin to lose consciousness, Crenshaw, but it's a pleasant, comfortable oblivion, a warmth, and visions begin to roll through your head. You see the Lear come here. You see other tribes meet. You see them defending it for a time. You see them sending messengers out in like tunics of like white leather as emissaries, bringing messages, attempting to communicate with effort folk. You see many battles in some places between the effort and the Lear still, but in others unified, the effort and the Lear fighting a green-skinned ancient hag. You see them excavating a temple in the swamp and beating demons of shadow and deception. Black-skinned dragons like the beast you've slain. But you see many people garbed in this sort of silver and like sea green, with the mark of this pillar, who all can heal the wounds of Minai, of Lear, of elves, of dwarves, of humans, who are not a part of the effort, aren't a part of the Lear, certainly aren't a part of the Manai. You see the focus of the effort turn slowly and inexorably to focus singularly on the Manai. You see a future of wonders born between the knowledge of the Lear and the effort. You see fortresses floating on pillars of crystal, housing companies and companies of soldiers, flowing over the land. You see on them Lear and effort folk, kitted out in weapons and armor that are a combination of both. You see them flying over a frozen Northland. You see them fighting the Menai, and over years, you see the Menai retreat into strange realms of darkness and shadow, finding elves of gray skin and black hair who have a similar temperament, but stranger magics. You see a war spreading out, but you see peace and unity between the effort and the Lear themselves. Kenneth and Saida, you and Zim, your sense of self is gone. You are a trifold consciousness that floats around a certain piece of information, a certain knowledge, what you know, what you've learned, and what you brought to the firmament to change there and become something new, now spreads throughout the land over it, all the way up to the sea's edge. You see it spreading across a vast continent. You see it too flowing underneath the sea, across the sea floor. You feel yourself flowing into people, but not people you recognize. Some elves, dwarves, Lear, other folk, but also monsters and stranger folk, goblins and Sahuagin, these deep old ones. It's not limited to your effort folk, your allies. It's not owned by anyone. This power is free to anybody who has a purpose that aligns with a new way, a dawning of the new day, a recovery of what was lost, which was the future. For generations, for so long, you all lived on the sea, and there was no future but this drudgery. You are certain that you've given a future to more than just the effort. And one of you, two of you, survive. The next days are slow and strange. The folk who survived the hilltop, those few of you, sort of tending each other. A camp hastily made of skins and the dyed canvases of the effort. You see the first of many communities growing. The ones that come after this will be made of stone, of knowledge and intention. This is made of desperation and necessity. But the first talks of peace, of true peace, begin to happen in this camp, this place of necessity. This ancient pillar made so long ago for a purpose that you can only guess at and hope that your purpose is fulfilled, or the purpose of it was fulfilled. But yours certainly was. And I think that concludes this campaign of LandFall, as our heroes were successful. Not all heroes perhaps survive, but also what may have looked like death is become something different, as Kenneth, Saida, and Zim are not exactly alive, though you could say that those individuals certainly ceased to exist and are no more. Something new was woven from the three of them. Of the living, there's, fittingly perhaps, Crenshaw, who, having seen so much, is an excellent vessel for knowledge, for personality that you all carried. And I'll leave you with one last note before I'll let you all have any questions you have. Crenshaw, you can sense something different in RS. Some sort of inner resolve, a peace that's there. But there's a light, literally, a golden light in his eyes now. And he says there's one in yours as well. But you think he's just saying that for you. No one else says anything of the sort, but everyone sees the golden light in RS's eyes. All right. So before we call it for the session for the night, do you all have any questions about this story? What happens next? Anything that you all felt was left out?
No, not me.
Same.
Okay. Whew. This was intense, y'all. Well.
I didn't think I'd cry, and I did.
Yeah, I know our initial vision didn't have Zim sacrificing themselves at the top of that pillar, but I was like, there's no other way. Because I was pretty darn sure one more round of that Manai on our dome would be nope.
Yeah, he was coming through.
And I had a decent amount of spell slots left, so
Yeah, that just fast-tracked the whole thing a little bit quicker. But yeah, I appreciate you all playing this. It's a pretty hardcore setting. It's not necessarily for everybody. Certainly, Goblinstone's not going to be military. It's not going to be the same type of grim dark at all. It's going to be much more of a starting out as a standard fantasy realm that you have to make sure that it gets to stay that way, sort of scenario. A lot more standard. Well, a lot more of the meat and potatoes, like hanging out in pubs, shenanigans, a lot more room for shenanigans. So, which is why I picked that campaign. And this one did go a little longer than planned, but it's got to take the story into port the right way. So I appreciate you all being willing as players and really leaning into that. That was really fun for such a heavy story, heavy ending. But before we sign off for the night, let's check in and see how that was for everybody else. Bri, how about you? How was this short campaign? How was this session?
Excellent. I had a good time, and enjoyed playing someone a little bit different than what because we play in this world on Thursdays. So I'm very excited and looking forward to Goblinstone.
Awesome. Heck yeah. Me too. Thanks for that feedback, Bri. How about you, Pon? What are your thoughts on the night, on the mini campaign?
It's so strange because I had this, pretty strong understanding that I probably wasn't going to come out of this alive. But as it happened and the way it was described was so, really caught me up in my senses. And I think left an impression on me that's going to take me a couple of days to process. Like I said, I was kind of surprised that I cried. So I think that that's a marker from my experience of a powerful story. And this whole campaign has kind of taken me by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
It's been kind of a frustrating journey, but kind of one of those ones that assures you that if you stick through it, you'll learn a whole hell of a lot. And I think Saida, I've got a whole slew of characters I've created in my life, and I have to say that she's become a permanent fixture. I will remember Saida. There's plenty that have been forgotten, but Saida will not be one of them. So thank you everybody for showing up and
bring in your unique flair and twist to the story. It's been an honor to play with all of you, and I'm excited to play some more.
Heck yeah. Thank you for that. How about you, Deal? What are your thoughts on the campaign in tonight's session?
It certainly went on longer than I expected. It was originally
Same.
going to be, throw together a few characters and practice some games, and I think we all got into the story a little bit and started getting into our characters a little bit, and so it was long enough, like Evelyn said, it's long enough to get to know your characters, and then have them go out in a good way. So yeah, I think it's a fitting ending to the campaign. It's a way to tie it up and send it along. But yeah, Kenneth was just supposed to be kind of a throwaway character. It turned out to be an interesting experience, and like the others, I'm looking forward to creating a new character and getting going in Goblinstone.
Yeah, heck yeah. All right, thanks for that feedback, DL. How about you, Joe? Any thoughts on the night, on the campaign?
Yeah, I thought the campaign was definitely interesting. As Brian says, as Big Ray says, he and I are part of this campaign on Thursday nights with DM Feanor, and we've definitely played it differently between the two, 100% differently, if in fact, and we have been playing very different characters. This was the first time I played a druid in a long time, and Zim just has some fascinating quirks that I wanted to take a look at and try.
Yeah.
Mostly I had very few combat spells, if any. I had a combat cantrip and a combat spell, so that was purposeful. I knew what I was doing when I was doing that. But I felt like this guy just wouldn't be a very big combatant. But
yeah.
At the end of the day, his friends were giving it all, and he knew somebody else had to, so as well, in order for this to work. So I really liked it. I liked all of our characters, the unique blend of story, and how we've summed it up this go around. So I thought it was amazing.
Heck yeah. Yeah, this was really fun. All of y'all playing different characters. First of all, getting to bring people from different games together to play has been really, really fun. And just having everybody get to know each other, and of course get to know their characters. This has all been really, really fun. And yeah, we did plan for it to. We expected it. I said it was going to be a little bit shorter, but it's been really fun. I think it's been a really good. It's been good. There's been a lot of little kinks to work out in the system and stuff, but. Also, yeah, I just think it just became a really satisfying, really fun story, and I really appreciate, just y'all being interested and willing to end a story this way, and just lean into it. This is really fun. To all of you out there,
my only regret is not having done the final stand thing and becoming an Ankylosaur forever.
Well, there's always another
regret.
Always another campaign.
There's always another time.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, we're about to sign off. We are going to take a little bit off. We're going to do some prep for Goblinstone. So I'm thinking a month ahead. I'll keep everybody posted. I'm still going to do some streaming on Mondays. Just streaming prep. Maybe doing maps from stuff for other games. Maybe just playing video games and talking about my week and stuff. But I'll keep the streaming up just to keep everybody together and keep our little community going. And we'll plan on launching that Goblinstone here in a month. And we'll be also, I believe, be launching it with some secret footage that'll be behind the scenes to those who really want to see it. So we're all pretty excited about all this. And this will be a completely different campaign, completely different setting, different characters, and different vibe and everything. So this will be really fun to change gears with this party. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it really lends itself to some of the kind of shenanigans I think this party really wants to get up to. So that being said, you all, thanks for tuning in with us week after week and joining us. And we'll see you all next week. I'm DM Feanor. Of course, you can find me on all of the things. Start playing games primarily. And yeah, we are the Mythlanders. we'll catch you in a month here and there. But I'll see you next week. Those of you who want to join me. Yeah. Thanks so much. You all have a great week. Take care of yourselves, or a great month, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye all.
Bye.